So role of MIS-TLIF in degenerative scoliosis. I think it's very interesting. The treatment for adult scoliosis obviously is complex. And on the right side, if you go from the upper to the lower part, as the degree of scoliosis increases, the treatment becomes more surgical, of course. And usually the treatment then is really deformity correction. And I think MIS-TLIF is probably not the best option for that. But there is a role in degenerative scoliosis. I think there is a very, very important role for MIS-TLIF surgery. And I think that role is in patients with focal radicular symptoms with radiculopathy due to severe nerve compression at the apex of the scoliosis or in the fractional curve below. There's also a role for MIS-TLIF as part of a longer MIS construct. Now with lateral surgery, for example, you go down to L4-5. L5 is one. Sometimes you have to do that from the back, so the MIS-TLIF may be an option in addition to other levels that are being treated with lateral surgery. But I think the main indication really for MIS-TLIF is patients with radiculopathy. And I want to show you some examples. This is an ophthalmologist who we treated recently who had degenerative scoliosis, moderate degree of degenerative scoliosis, not a lot of back pain, but really radicular pain. And the radicular pain came from the L4, L5 level where he also had degenerative spondylolisthesis. And then as you can see here, there's no pointer here, sorry. As you can see here on the right side, severe compression of the exiting L4 nerve root, which was really the reason for the leg pain. So there's a pointer here, okay. That's the level that was severe. So the symptoms were really based on that L4, L5 level, and the patient didn't have any mechanical back pain, was not really symptomatic from the rest of the scoliosis except for neurogenic claudication. So we did a one-level MIS-TLIF at L4-5 and then did multi-level tubular decompressions at the levels above where he had central stenosis but not a lot of foraminal stenosis. And this patient now, 1 year later, did very well, is back working actually and traveling, is doing very, very well. One of my partners, Dean Chow, and two partners actually, Andrew Chan, published this recently where they described the role of MIS-TLIF for the fractional curve in patients with degenerative scoliosis. And they had a very nice paper here with a video also. And this was only a case example with a video, but they concluded that MIS-TLIF provides targeted effective correction of fractional curves. So those are the curves right below the degenerative scoliosis. And so the question is then, does every patient with degenerative scoliosis really have to have a deformity reduction? And I think if you think about MIS-TLIF, is really the goal is really to treat the patient, not the X-ray. Of course, if you look at the X-ray, you would have to do, the goal is a deformity correction, you have to do a much bigger operation. But I think if you look at this from a more kind of philosophical perspective, and how do you make the decision to pick the right operation, not necessarily just treat the curve, the way that you come to your decision then is really to first make an accurate diagnosis. In the case that I showed, the diagnosis was really the L4 radiculopathy. It was not necessarily the degenerative scoliosis that was the problem. And then understand what's the natural history of the disease, and then what's the impact of your operation. If you look at those three things and you put it all together, then that really leads you hopefully to the right surgical decision. So treating the patient, not necessarily the X-ray. In terms of the diagnosis, in the case that I showed, that patient who had the L4 radiculopathy, so it was really the radiculopathy that was the problem, no mechanical back pain. And then what's the natural history? What the natural history of lumbar spondylolisthesis, and we published that recently, is that 2/3 of these patients are really stable. So just because somebody has a degenerative spondylolisthesis doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get worse and need surgery. And the same seems to be true for degenerative lumbar scoliosis. This is something we're working on right now. But about 2/3 of patients with degenerative scoliosis are actually stable. Only 1/3 usually progress and require surgery. So that means that just the fact that you have somebody with an X-ray that shows degenerative scoliosis does not mean that you necessarily have to fix that. And then finally, what's the impact of your operation? As we mentioned, there are many, many different ways of treating this with surgery, open surgery, MIS. In terms of MIS-TLIF, what's the impact of MIS-TLIF really down the line then? And that's another study that we're working on currently. It's a meta-analysis where we are looking at 34 studies, looking at various types of fusions and the incidence of adjacent segment disease that requires surgery, more than 8,000 patients. And if you compare open TLIF surgery to PLIF surgery, which is usually open lumbar, so XLIF surgery, ALIF, and MIS-TLIF, the lowest rate of patients requiring surgery for adjacent segment disease, at least in our study, was really MIS-TLIF compared to all the others. So that means the MIS-TLIF is actually a very, very safe option for this type of one-level or two-level decompression and fusion. So the conclusion is, in patients with degenerative scoliosis, then don't just look at the X-ray, really try to figure out what are the symptoms. If it's radicular and it's not mechanical, the pain, then sometimes a 1 or 2 level decompression and fusion may be a safe option. And MIS-TLIF is a great option. And why MIS-TLIF? Because it's just a very, very safe operation. The complication rates are very low, as we've heard earlier. High fusion rates, low reoperation rate, and it gives you the option to get direct and indirect decompression. So thank you very much for your attention.